He said the biggest thing that you can do for your kid is never overreact. Because kids are going to like, hey, Mom and Dad, I went to a friend's house last night and I smoked a vape with THC in it. What? What?
Exactly.
Why did you do that? What are you thinking? They could lace that. You could die.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Nope. Hello, welcome to The Uncomfortable Truth. Who is the most compassionate and the kindest person that you ever met, and what type of impact did they have on you?
I know quite a few people who I feel like are really compassionate in my own life, but one of the first things that I think about is my favorite Adam Sandler story.
Adam Sandler. You think of Adam Sandler, kind and compassionate.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm going to kind of dive into this story here. I took a few notes here. Heard this the other day and thought it was just spectacular. So Adam Sandler, he went to NYU for fine arts. He was taking acting classes at NYU, and he had a professor that took him out for a beer one evening. And the professor explained to him that he wanted to get him away from the classroom and get him away from everybody. And he told him that he did not believe that he had what it took to become an actor. So fast forward 15 years. 15 years later, Adam Sandler was at a red carpet event, and this was at the height of his success. And he was out eating with several movie stars that he. And there he ran into the professor. He called his professor over to the table and introduced him to all of his friends at the table. And Sandler introduced him as the only professor to ever buy him a beer in college. The moral of this, when it comes to compassion, is the measure of a man is not your ability to squash your naysayers, but instead having that ability but instead lifting them up and showing them compassion and generosity. I also have a Bible verse to go along with that.
All right.
Colossians 3:12, Therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience.
What a cool story. I mean, all of our natural inclination on that whole deal. He's probably spent over the course of that 15 years a lot of time thinking about what can I do to show this guy that I've been a success.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
What can I do to show this guy that he was wrong, like just straight up wrong? Like that's a driving motivation for a lot of people. I'm
guilty.
What do you call it? It's almost like I'm gonna show you kind of. Not vengeance, but I don't know what the word is.
There's something in your heart when somebody tells you that if you're motivated and somebody tells you that you can't do it, you're not going to amount to anything. There's some bitterness that can build up there.
I've had it happen to me.
Yes, me too.
I've had it happen to me from an ex-girlfriend.
Oh man, and you remember it, right?
Vividly.
When people are that clear with your path or what they think your path should be, it's very, very hard to take and very, very hard to let go of. Have you guys seen Adam Sandler's first movie that he had a starring role in?
I don't know. What
I'm
it was.
sure.
I can't remember the name of it, but he was on a boat. They were on a cruise. I think this was his first starring role.
Okay.
If you had seen that, you would agree with that professor.
Yeah.
It was absolutely terrible.
It was.
And Adam may, who knows? Adam, you can come and be on the show if you want to, and we can talk about this first movie. But it was absolutely terrible. But through the years, he's gotten better and better. And he had a couple years of comedy there that could be considered unparalleled to other actors out there.
Billy Madison.
Yes.
The
Waterboy.
Hundreds.
Wedding Singer.
Yeah.
Waterboy. I saw something.
Happy
the other
Gilmore.
Day. It's funny that you mentioned, Happy Gilmore. You mentioned him because just the other day, God must have known you were going to bring up Adam Sandler. I saw a
The little things, right?
A little thing on TikTok or something that was like, you can relate Adam Sandler's top 5 movies over the span of 4 years to Michael Jordan's 6-run ring deal. Like
Yeah.
You could.
from a comedic standpoint.
Late 90s, early 2000s
Crazy.
was the years of Adam Sandler.
Yeah. That story just helps you to know what kind of all about his character and what kind of man he is. It's encouraging in my own life. I can't tell you how many times whenever somebody tells me I can't do something, how I want to go out there and prove them wrong, and then hold it up in front of their face and say, or embarrass them in a certain moment or whatever. That's our human nature, like y'all were saying. But it's easy to do to go down the road that Satan wants you to go down, and to try to harbor that resentment and then to throw it in somebody's face and to try to make them look foolish.
Obie, you mentioned an ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
What was the story behind that? Do we want to talk about it on air?
We were just honestly we had gotten to the point where we were thinking about getting married.
Okay.
And there wasn't like I don't think you're ever going to amount to anything. I'm done. It was like the path that I was going down in my career. It was like, that's not going to work.
Okay.
And
Yes.
and it was like, I think it's going to work, and very beginning stages. And that was toward the end of our relationship. And I feel like that it was one of the factors that ended it, was her not believing that our path to start this business and go down this road with my brother on a business venture. 21 years later, that business is still going, and that was almost 20 years ago. Whenever the Antler Works was starting from the ground, and at that time, Shaun might have still been working in his backyard. There wasn't a lot of like, this is going to be a great company,
Yes. Yes.
There was a lot of unknowns.
Yeah, who knows if
Yeah.
you're going to even make it,
Yeah.
through the hard times. You got to grind. I remember, this is weird that I remember this, but I have a very, there's a term for this, defiant, oppositional defiance. They put disorder on it now.
Okay.
ODD. They actually,
Oh, that's a label.
a label.
Oh,
It
wow.
is actually a label. I've never been labeled that, but
Oppositional defiance disorder.
Yes, I believe that's what it's called.
I've never heard of that.
I remember in my freshman year of high school, I've always been a hustler, right? So I was throwing those quarter packs of gum in my backpack, and whatever I could fit in my backpack, candies, gums, drinks occasionally, that wouldn't go bad, that I could carry around day to day to day to day
To sell?
to sell. Yes. So I'd buy them for the quarter, sell them for 50 cents at school.
That's awesome.
And I remember one of the teachers telling me, you can't do that. And I remember thinking, I'm going to. I'm not going to stop. What are you going to do about it? But that's how I've been my whole life. Is like when somebody tells me I can't do something, it's like, watch me. But that's not necessarily attitude that I should have as a Christian, especially if it's breaking some rule that
Yeah.
doesn't break one of God's rules, right?
Sure.
And we should be, what the Bible verse was, Colossians 3:12.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Be kind and compassionate, basically.
What I took from it, from the Adam Sandler story was, and what pointed to that verse was humility. Like, to me, that was the ultimate act of humility. Humbleness in that moment would have been so easy to just forgo, and he chose to be humble in that moment. And not only obviously there was compassion involved too. I just think about the fruits of the Spirit. I think about how Jesus lived his life, and I feel like that if we did nothing more than model our life after Jesus' life, we would be doing a pretty good we'd be heading in the right direction. You know,
It's hard, right? It's hard when people cut you and they cut you down to think, what is my next step the next time that I see them? If I do want to prove them wrong, okay, I got to go deeper. Why do I want to prove this human wrong? Why does it even matter what they say to me or how they cut me down? Why does my brain and my heart want to cut them back? Okay, that's sin, right? Just sin's natural. And it's because it hurts. It hurts our pride. And it's humility and pride are two things that fight each other in our lives. It's like Mike Tyson and what's his name about to fight, right? These are humility and pride. Now, I'm not putting a label on Mike Tyson and what is that dude's name?
Jake Paul.
Jake Paul on which one is humility and pride. But it's like a boxing match in our life as men. It's something that most men struggle with. Of, okay, I want to get back at them. No, I'm a Christian. I want to be humble and be kind and courteous. And it's like, no, just knock them down. You know, they put me down. I'm going to knock them down. Isn't that a normal process that we all go through?
100%. Nobody likes to be discouraged. You know, when you think about if you see a mom or a dad discouraging, their child instead of encouraging them like at a sporting event, our automatic intuition is to get upset and to go over there and be like, hey, what are you doing? I mean, like, how could you, don't dare discourage your child.
How is that helping your kid?
Yeah. How is that going to help them in adulthood, you know? And it's we automatically want to bounce back. Well, especially if it's ourselves. If somebody discouraging me or you or Obie, you know, that's a big deal.
Quick point. I was talking to a guy the other day who's had a lot of experiences with youth, and he said the biggest thing that you can do for your kid is never overreact. Is take 10 seconds. Never let them shock you. If they tell you something that is shocking, just take 10 seconds.
Yeah, that's great.
Bring it down. Because kids are going to, like, you know, hey, Mom and Dad, I went to a friend's house last night, and I smoked a vape with THC in it. What? What?
Exactly.
Why did you do that? What are you thinking? They could lace that. You could die.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Nope.
Yeah. All of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great point.
Why do you think you
Yeah.
succumb to that temptation?
And then are they ever going to come back to you and say anything else ever?
That was his point.
Yeah.
They will never, that one moment will define your relationship, at least with your teenager at that point. And they will not bring those things back
They'll
to
never
you.
feel comfortable too.
Right.
Yeah.
They can still have consequences and all those things, but we can have a normal conversation about it.
Yeah, you're right. It's a great way, like Shaun said, to keep them from never coming back to you with anything important that they've messed up on again.
Yeah.
You know, and again, our natural reaction is to overreact, and we see the world do that. I just really think that we have to focus daily, have intentional daily focus on living a life like Christ. We have to listen to the Sermon on the Mount, you know, read the Sermon on the Mount and listen to the way that Jesus calls us to live. And if we are going about that the way that Colossians 3:12 says, with kindness, compassion, humility, patience, all of those things, it takes a lot of patience to take that 10 seconds. 10 seconds is a very long time whenever you think about it. When you're in the moment, 10 seconds is a very long time.
Yes.
I can remember being a teacher or student teaching. I never actually went and got a job.
Okay.
So I can remember going.
You weren't successful in teaching, or you didn't try to
never
be. Huh?
tried.
That degree worked out, baby.
Hey, I remember in education they would teach you that when you ask a question to the class to give it 7 seconds for a kid to raise their hand before you spoke after the question. And I can remember standing up student teaching and asking a question, and 7 seconds feels like 700 seconds.
It's
like
awkwardly long.
It feels like an eternity to stand in front of 27 kids who are looking at you like you are an absolute fool.
There's a standard in the industry when you're at an event or something and they say, let's take a moment of silence.
Right.
It's like 12 seconds.
Is it?
How long does it feel like?
It feels like a whole minute.
It does.
You know, it's just patience.
So you did learn something from school.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't become a teacher, but that was, I'm sure, something that you've used in your daily life since.
Without a doubt.
yeah.
You learn that those silent moments where you need to keep your mouth shut feel a lot longer than they actually are.
Our natural reaction is to match the emotion of the other person.
Mm-hmm.
It's natural. We have to combat that and create habits that go a different way from that. Now, it's okay in natural conversation, right, to match the emotion of the other person
Sure.
if it's on the level. Some people are low, some people are high naturally.
It's
just
definitely
excited.
a natural thing to do.
Yes. But the one that where somebody, if some boy bows up to you, what are you going to do?
Well, naturally or
Naturally,
you're gonna throw it back.
you're going to bow up.
That's right.
Right? If some guy's insulting your wife at a sporting event or spills, this has happened to me. Dude's spilling beer on my people, the Raiders fan. This is a good story. We're at a Cowboys game, and the guy sitting behind us, where the Cowboys were playing the Raiders, and him and his wife and two stepkids were behind us. Stepkids were, and a girlfriend. Stepkids were probably 18 and 21. Guy was 21, had a girlfriend there. He was getting irate, continuously drinking. When my family would stand up to cheer the Cowboys, he would cuss at my mother-in-law and my kids about standing up in front of him. And then he would spill beer on them. So the first time, everything in me wanted to knock this sucker out. I wanted to just turn, and there was no threat. This was a little dude, but he had some issues. I didn't. I calmed down, and when his family got up, I went and I stepped over the row and I sat down beside him and I whispered in his ear. I was like, "Hey, man, we're just here to enjoy the game just like you are. I'll ask them if they're bothering you to stop doing what they're doing. They're going to cheer for the Cowboys.
Right.
But can we sit here and be cool?" Yeah. That worked for about 30 minutes. And then I thought my mom was going to jump over this seat and smack this dude.
Really?
And then we just ended up having to call the security guards. But it de-escalated enough. If I would have rose to his level, and this is not a yay for me story because everything in me wanted to,
Sure.
wear him out. But it worked long enough for the purpose that was intended.
Sure. At the end of the day, we got to be compassionate.
That's right.
Well, we appreciate you guys joining us today. Remember to be compassionate and always see people for who they are. We're people, right? We're all sinful. We're all human. We all have a human condition. And you never know what somebody's going through when they say those things to you. And it's not our job to be vindictive and prove them wrong. It's our job to live a life like Christ the best we can.
Amen.
Amen.
All right, go kick the day in the face, and we'll catch you on the next one.